Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. And remember, if you can't listen to the entire show, it's always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb on most of the podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about people's primary assets, their home. So, Barb, what are we talking about today?
Well, Richard, the first one is going to be about how to find the right buyer for your home. And it's gotten a little bit harder than it was last year because we have a lot more homes on the market, a lot fewer buyers that can afford a home, or they are using things like asking seller to pay their loan closing cost to buy down their interest rate so it is affordable. So it's really different than it used to be. So we're going to talk about that. And then the next topic we're going to cover are the top ways to easily move when you have a house to sell. I've got some really good ideas on what you can do because it's the biggest dilemma most home sellers have is they need to take their equity out to buy their next home. The third topic, we're going to deep dive in again into the cash offer system that we offer. Because a lot of people make assumptions that, oh, cash offers, it must be discount. And sometimes it's not, it's full market value. So we'll talk about why do people actually consider selling their home to a cash buyer versus going through the whole traditional sales process. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is coming up very soon, probably within, I would say, a month and a half, our whole real estate world is going to change upside down. And they're no longer going to offer a commission to the agent that brings the buyer. There's going to be some negotiating going on, and the rules have changed. So we're going to talk about how will the home buying process change this summer. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
Now, Barb, the market has certainly changed in the last year. It's causing some people to wonder if their home will ever sell. We know your site is named Barb Has the Buyers, and I know from referring you to my own friends that you come up with buyers for homes all of the time. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, Richard, when all of the listings went online, and this probably happened back in the late 90s. It really changed the real estate world back then. For some of it's for the better, some of it's not. But over time, what happened was that the photography got better and better. And so it sort of changed the dynamics about how real estate sales happen. Years ago, it used to be if you wanted to buy a house, you go get with a real estate agent or you go direct to a builder. Some people do that. And this real estate agent would whip out this white book. It was called the MLS listing book. Do you remember seeing that, Richard?
I do, yeah. It was like a phone book practically.
It looked like a phone book and had all the homes for sale, but it really didn't have any pictures where you could decide whether or not you wanted to go see that home. And so that is the big change when all of that information went public and the agents no longer controlled the rice bowl of homes for sale. Then the buyers were more in the driver's seat where they could say, oh, I want to see that one. I want to see that one, right? And so what happened is the real estate industry kind of naturally gravitated to the agents punching the easy button. What I mean by that is an agent would somehow connect with a buyer online. The buyer said, hey, I want to see that home. Is it available? And the agent goes, let me check. They look it up and they're like, yeah, would you like to see it? And the very first meeting with the agent and the buyer is at the house. Plus, there is no requirement in the state for the agent to verify that the buyer has the ability to perform. And they've gotten so careless, they don't even ask the buyer what they're looking for. They just show up at the house, meet the buyer, and hope and pray that this buyer it wants that house. And we actually, I call them Pop-Tart agents. We actually tested it for a year just to see if it was effective. and I would track it. And I'm like, this doesn't work. None of those people bought a house with us. So what was missing? What was missing is the first meeting with the buyer was all about the house and not about the services that the agent can provide, the information that an agent can provide, the knowledge that the agent can provide. It just didn't happen. It was all about the house. So the buyer go look at the house and go, okay, no, see ya, goodbye, right? So it really kind of dumbed down the industry, in my opinion, and made the agents very kind of, I want to say, I just have to say it, lazy and transactional, right? And so the problem with that is that the buyers think when they're talking to somebody, when they raise their hand to see a home, that they're meeting the listing agent, but that's almost never the case because the way they develop the online MLS system is they really dumb down the listing agent's contact information. If you go on Zillow, it's all the way to the bottom. Well, guess what? The buyers don't go to the bottom to look at who is the listing agent. They just go, bing, I want to see it. They think they're getting the listing agent, and they get this agent that doesn't know anything about the house. So I think it's frustrating for sellers because the problem is home sellers are assuming that, oh, this person that wants to come see my home obviously likes this kind of home, obviously can afford this kind of home, right? And so they go to all this trouble to get prepared for the showing. And it's very difficult for some people. They have to get kids, dogs, cats, whatever, make sure the beds are made and it's neat and tidy so it shows well. And then they get really weird feedback like, well, this home is a ranch and I really wanted a two-story. It's like, what? You can see it's a ranch before you even go look at it. What is going on? So, it got so bad. There's actually one of the real estate companies that made their whole business around that. And they called the agents that they send out to show properties showing agents. These are people fresh out of real estate school that really in my opinion, are not trained and don't know anything. And those agents are actually paid $30, $50 or whatever to go open a door. So you're a seller doing all this preparation and you're thinking that this agent's going to come in with this buyer and this agent's going to be selling and promoting the home. Oh no. In fact, they will probably be talking smack about the home just to make them position themselves as kind of experts. But in that case, they don't even write the offer. If the buyer wants a house, they hand it off to their selling agent, whatever that is, their salesperson. And the buyer is thinking, wait, okay, I'm here with this real estate agent. The assumption is that the agent that they're with knows the house, knows the real estate market, understands its value, all these different things that you would expect an agent to know. No way. And unfortunately, they become very much overpaid, expensive door openers. And if they happen to luck out and get a buyer that says, okay, I definitely really want this house, it's great. Like I had one show one of my listings. He was standing right next to the AC compressor outside in the backyard, telling the buyer, because everything was on camera, and you have to expect when you go in somebody's home, you're going to be on camera somewhere. But he's standing there telling the buyer that, oh, well, you could put AC window units in this home. That would work fine. So,
Jeez.
I mean, it's insane. And the client's asking me, what's wrong with these people? I'm like, I can't speak for others. But are they experts or not? They have no idea. They don't like reading. They want to show up, hope the buyer says yes, write a 10-minute contract, and get paid thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, I've had people say, the agents will call me and go, oh, well, I'm out of town. Can you show my buyer your listing? And I'm like, isn't that your job? So I just say, look, I'm happy to. Why don't you, we can do something like refer business back and forth where we get a piece of the commission. I said, go ahead and send me a referral agreement and I'll be happy to take care of it. And they're like, oh no, we don't want to share the commission. We just want you to do the work and just send me a check. That's pretty much how it goes sometimes. So it's really, really frustrating. So this is why I'm talking about finding the right buyer and how you find the right buyer. And it all stems back to whoever is handling the sale, because they have to get the buyer informed, because the agents may or may not be informed about what's going on with the property. So just in our company, we have well over 27,925 buyers in waiting on our little website. Typically, I can find at least 700 buyers that are a high match for any home. Plus, we have our cash offers. So if you're thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking about the shift in the real estate market. Barb, where do you think this real estate market is headed?
Well, it's going to be very interesting because I was talking with a family member last weekend, and I was trying to explain it. So he's not in real estate; he's in a completely different career field. Trying to explain what was going to happen, and one of the questions he asked me is, he's like, "So I have to pay to see a house?" Because the new rule is you have to have an agreement with the agent on who pays their fee. And he's like, wait, I have to pay to see a house. So they're only hearing what's important to them. Don't I just want to go see a house. Why is this so difficult? So I think probably what's going to happen is there's going to be a big shakeup over the next couple of months. It's going to be fun to see it, in my view. And, last year's strategies for selling homes, they weren't working. Sellers are frustrated because, 2 years ago, everything sold and everything had a bidding war. And that's just not the case right now. Prices are going up, but the inventory's gone up by over 33%. So you have more competition, you have fewer buyers that can afford the home. So there needs to be somebody that has that expertise and has that sales experience to guide the sellers when they get an offer to work with that buyer somehow. Don't scare them away, because right now in this market, summer market, prime time, yes, prices are going up, days on market are dropping, but there's fewer buyers to compete with. So there has to be a little bit of give and take. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the future. But it's going to be fun. But finding the right buyer is important. That means you have to have an agent that actually scrutinizes what that buyer is doing. Are they qualified? Do they have the financial ability to perform? Are they fully informed about the house? Are there any surprises? So I think we're going to see possibly a little bit of softening in prices, but it just hasn't happened yet. And the rates are still at 7%. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to sit down and talk to somebody on my team and get a really good idea what your home will sell for, how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells, and then we'll show up with offers on your home. Nobody else does that. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we're going to be discussing the top ways to easily move when you have to sell a home. Stay tuned for that.